The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Boise, Idaho, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31998. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Here is a side view of your apparatus, and now let's get started with the front bumper of your apparatus. Just under the front, you'll find two open-ended tow hooks. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren on the passenger side. You have dual air horns on the right and left side. And then located on the passenger side is where you'll find your electronic siren and PA speakers system. Let's move up onto the body where you'll find your headlight cluster. High beam is on the inside section and the low beam is on the outer side. You'll also find your turn indicator and marker light. Moving up from that, you'll find two forward-facing red emergency warning lights. Located in the center, just above the Pierce logo, is where you'll find a grab handle. You have two windshield wipers. As we move all the way up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 running lights. And to the top of the apparatus is where you'll find your emergency light bar. Located in the center of that emergency light bar is where you'll find your opticom. Let's move just behind the front bumper on the side is where you'll find an additional red emergency warning light side facing. Here are some close-ups of those things that we just spoke about, including the headlight cluster, turn indicator. As we look to the top, you'll find your light bar, and in the center you'll find your opticom. Located on the entrance location on the driver's side, you'll find your air inlet chuck and also a step light. Also on the side, you'll find your shoreline inlet. This is a 20 amp auto eject plug. Moving to the pump panel area at the very top, you'll find your master intake on the left, master discharge on the right, and down at the bottom, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Let's move over to the crosslay. First, you'll find the number 1 crosslay in yellow and the number 2 crosslay in white. In between the two of those placards, you'll find this warning label regarding entanglement hazard and the associated hazards with those hoses coming off the side of the apparatus. Also on the side of the apparatus, you'll find these 5 lights indicating your tank level. And then as we move all the way to the center pump area, you'll find this placard regarding that only trained personnel that have read the owner's manual should operate this piece of equipment. You'll also find some warning labels here that riding on the side of the apparatus is not advised, and then also that pressurized caps do have a hazard and that be cautious while you're removing them. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with the panel lights. You'll also find your pump engaged, which is an indicator that you've properly engaged your pump. And then just beneath that, you'll find 2 switches, one driver side floodlight and the second passenger side floodlight. As we move just down from this location, you'll find 2 turn valves. One is the recirculating line, and then the other is an engine cooler. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find all of your color-coded gauges for your discharges, and just beneath that, you'll find the electronic controls for those. As we move further down, you'll find your monitor station here for your large diameter master stream device, and then you'll also find a water level indicator located in blue. Just beneath that, you'll find the driver main inlet and passenger main inlet. These are electronic valves. Moving further to the right, we'll find the driver main inlet override. This requires a tool in case you have failure of your electronic valve. You'll also find once again that only trained personnel should operate this equipment. You do have a primer located in the center. It is a pull. And as we move further to the right, we'll talk about this. This is your Detroit Diesel Fire Commander 2. This is the control module. Once again, this is your monitor operation stations. This is for your TFT nozzle. Moving up to the top, first let's talk about some of the items here with your Detroit diesel. First, pump discharge digital readout, pump intake also a digital readout. As we move further to the right, you'll find this red push button. This is an idle to move your vehicle into the idle position. You also have presets, or the ability to preset pump pressures. And then as we move further down, you'll find in blue the mode, which is either pressure or RPM mode. Moving down from that, you'll find in green the throttle ready. And then to the right, you have an increase and decrease sign for increasing or decreasing your RPMs. Moving all the way down to the very bottom left, you'll find a digital readout for your RPMs. You'll also find if lit, it's a amber check engine light. And then to the right of that, a red stop engine light. You'll also receive an audible alarm. This is the ability to silence that audible alarm, is the red switch right in the center. Just above that, or to the right, you'll find your teal blue menu button and a digital readout just above that. To the right, you'll find all of your information regarding oil pressure, engine temperature, transmission temperature, and also your volts. Down at the very bottom, difficult to see, is a black round speaker. This does have the ability to damper. It is the audible alarm. Located behind the panel, you'll find your pressure relief valve, which is preset to your specifications. And also just beneath that, you'll find your pump drain. Here are a couple close-ups of those items. Across the very bottom, you'll find all of your identifiable drains, which are labeled and also color-coded. You'll also find that warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards. You'll find your engine cooler and also your recirculating line drain. And then to the right, you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet, which is a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is your maintenance schedule for job number 31998. This is the 150, 200, and 250 test pressures. There's the RPMs on the right and the GPMs on the left. You also have a Watrous placard regarding the type of pump, CSU, and then the ratio 2.46. Just underneath all of this, under the step area, you'll find your push button foot for your reel rewind. And as we move through some of these images here, we'll identify some of those things within the images. First, let's start looking through some of the compartments here. As you can see, there is LED lighting inside and also adjustable shelving. As we move through the very rear compartment, you'll find you do have a 12-volt DC barrel style plug. You also have LED lights. As we move to the bottom, you'll find your bottle storage location and retaining straps. You'll find the silver cap is your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. When this is moved down, you'll reveal the blue cap, which is your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. That's going to be the blue. Very rear, once again, shelving and LED lighting. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, once again, I'd like to point out this warning label regarding not to ride on the apparatus while in motion. You do have your brake, turn, and also emergency lights. Located in the center, you'll find your reverse or backup lights. You do have fold down steps on both the right and left side. This is the light switch which turns on the rear scene lights from exterior of the vehicle. You will find a driver's rear discharge, 2.5-inch just below the hose bed. And on the passenger side, you'll find the passenger rear discharge, 2.5-inch. You'll also find a center compartment here, roll-up door, center shelf, adjustable. As we move up to the top, you'll find an adjustable hose bed, dividers, and also a rigid hose bed. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. We'll move down the side and talk about some of the items within this area. First, let's start within the lower compartment. You'll find that you have at the upper right-hand corner an additional 12-volt barrel-style access, and then also LED lighting within these compartments.
As we're looking through some of the compartments, you will see the LED lights on the intersection of the hinged side, and you'll also see adjustable shelving. I would like to point out this warning label regarding extremely hot exhaust temperatures, and be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. We'll now move to the midsection, but I would like to point out the very bottom of this image, you'll find that real rewind. This is a foot switch. And as we move up to the panel itself, we're going to find first your powered rack equipment. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next few images. I would like to point out this is your large diameter intake, and the red is your large diameter discharge, although it is green in color for the labeling. Once again, this is a danger regarding moving equipment rack, and to stay clear of that rack area unless it is in the locked or raised position. There is an on-off switch, and there is also a lift up or down and a green indicator and instructions to raise or lower just beneath that. Let's move now to the individual compartments. As we look, this is your passenger main inlet override. Because this is an electronic valve, it does have an override. You'll also find just beneath that the cab lift. Moving to the right, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. I would like to point out on that cab lift, there are some dangers and also some caution labels here. To activate, simply lift the lever, whether you choose lower or raise with the red quarter turn switch. Once again, each individual discharge has a drain, which is color coded and also labeled. You do have an additional compartment door to gain access behind the pump panel. As we move to the top or dunnage area of the vehicle, we will find your booster line. To rewind the booster line, there is simply a push button on or near the booster line. This is going to be on the chain side, where there's also a manual rewind and tensioning. There are some warning labels here regarding the cab of the apparatus, not to walk on it. You'll also find the yellow reflective tape around the edge of your vehicle for firefighter safety, so they don't walk off the edge of the apparatus at nighttime. This is your water fill location. As we move inside of the cab, we're going to find at all points of entry additional information regarding seat belts and additional warning labels. I will find in the center, once we look inside this compartment in the next set of images, that's where you check your daily checks for oil and transmission. When plugged into shore power, that is your auto charger, and just above in the passenger seats, you'll find your David Clark headset module. Located in between those two seats, you'll find a rolla compartment which has LED lighting and also adjustable shelves. General view from the rear looking forward, and we'll identify some of those items in the next set of images. The rear of your apparatus does have two fold-down seats. And as we look to the driver's side and passenger side, once again, those doors will have all of these warning labels here. In this doorstep area on the passenger side, you will find an additional storage location where you'll find an LED light box. Also located on the foot area, you'll find an air horn pedal and also a mechanical siren pedal. Moving up to about knee height, you'll find your fill location for your windshield wiper and an access panel. You'll also find your rumbler, push to talk for your radio, two barrel style 12-volt access points, and then the module for your vehicle data recorder. General view overhead of the passenger seat. Let's talk about some of the items here. First, your rumbler and also the siren brake, and you can see in the background there a reading or map light. In the center of the cab, you're going to find your power window control and also your defrost and heat and air conditioning. Moving overhead, located near the center, you'll find your PA 300 series. This is the federal siren and PA system. Located in the center, you'll find your light that is activated not to move your apparatus. You have a compartment or a door open. Located on the side, you'll find the push to talk for your radio system. And once again, back into the driver's seat, we're going to find a couple of warning and caution labels I would like to point out this yellow placard, which is located just at about the right ankle of the operator. This is your manufactured by Pierce for Boise City Fire Department on June 2018. Has your job number, has the VIN number, gross vehicle weight ratings, tire inflation. It also has paint colors and also components, fluid capacities, and fluid types. You will find the VIN number also located on the A-pillar driver's side. Back into the cab, we're going to find a couple of items here that I'd like to point out. First, let's start down in the right corner. This is your auto charging system. When plugged into that auto eject, this will power and give you battery monitoring information. Moving up to the dash area, you'll find your air horns and mechanical siren, and also your master battery switch, which is in red, quarter turn, left off, right on. Moving just over to the right and slightly about knee height, you'll find your pump from road to pump or from pump to road. You'll also find two lights here indicating that the pump is engaged and it is okay to pump. When properly engaged, you'll find the OK to pump light will remain green. Let's move just up from that location. This is the ignition for your vehicle, also the start switch, 3 future locations, and your mirror heat. Moving to the right side, you'll find your SRS transmission diagnostic port and also your engine ABS diagnostic port, and then also the switches which coincide. General view of the dash of your apparatus. Let's start on the left-hand side, first starting with the oil pressure, transmission temperature, water temperature. At the very top, you have volts. Moving to the right, you'll find your tachometer. You'll also find additional information in the center between the steering column, which has additional light-up information. On the right-hand side of the dash, you'll find your speedometer. In the upper corner, you'll find your fuel. Just beneath that, you'll find your DEF level, and then front air and rear air. Let's take a general view here of the center of your cab. We'll identify a few of the items. First, let's start with the right-hand side, the triangle in yellow. This is the pull to apply your system parking brake, push to release. At the bottom, you'll find your Allison transmission pad with a digital readout and an indication to pump in drive. Let's talk about some of the switches next, starting in the upper left. Headlights. This is the on-off for the headlights. You also have a rocker or a dim switch here. And then moving to the right, wipers, washer, DPF regen switch, and DPF regen inhibit. Down in the lower section, you'll find an engine brake on and off switch, controls for low, medium, or high for that engine brake, high idle, OK to engage the high idle, a fuel primer, and your tire chains, which is a protected switch. You'll also find your backup override in red, load manager indicator, which is a green or red indicator, and your auto lube fault. This is also the location for your system parking brake. Once again, your Allison transmission pad, push button. It also is a digital readout. Let's take a look overhead of the operator. I'd like to focus in on the left-hand side to this placard. When it came off the apparatus floor at Pierce, it was a height of 10 feet 1 inch, a length of 29 feet 11.5 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 45,500 pounds. If there are any revisions to this, please update this placard. Moving to the right, you'll find your emergency master switch, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. If any of these are turned on, you will have an indicator also lit with the switch that has been selectively turned on. To the right of that, we're going to find the high beam flash, the Opticom, which is located in the center of the light bar, your driver's side flood, passenger side flood, rear scene, and then in red, this is the siren brake for your mechanical siren. Congratulations, Boise, Idaho, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31998. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any future questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations. Thank you.